chosen ones, your looks and your age have shocked a lot of people because you have C. Youth is not a time of life, it is a state of mind. Samuel Ullman. If you've ever noticed people staring at you like you just walked out of a dream, it's because your presence carries something of a rare spiritual vitality. You don't just defy age. You embody the kind of inner light that can't be dimmed by time or circumstance. In today's video on spiritual wisdom, we're diving into why chosen ones like you appear ageless, radiant, and energetically different, and how it all ties back to divine healing, transformation, and soul-level upgrades. As you watch, think about how these truths show up in your own life. Are you noticing shifts in your appearance, your energy, or how others respond to you? Comment below and share your experience. Your insight might be the confirmation someone else is waiting for. 1. You reversed aging through spiritual alignment. Your youthful appearance isn't a lucky accident. It's the visible evidence of a deep spiritual recalibration. While most people attempt to slow down aging with surface-level solutions like creams, cosmetic procedures, or filters, you've taken a completely different route. Yours is not a path of resistance, but of release. You didn't fight aging, you surrendered to healing. And in that surrender, you unlocked a power few understand: the ability to reverse aging from the inside out. This transformation wasn't bought, borrowed, or faked. It was earned through years of inner work, through facing shadows, clearing emotional blockages, and walking alone when everyone else chose the crowd. Your body is no longer in survival mode. You are no longer carrying the frequency of fear, shame, or regret. Instead, you vibrate with purpose, with peace, and with the presence of someone who knows who they are on a spiritual level. And when the spirit is in harmony, the body naturally follows. You no longer age like others because you no longer live like others. You have returned to your natural state, one of flow, awareness, and divine rhythm. Most people grow older by accumulating emotional weight, stress, and unresolved trauma. But you chose to release. You chose to unlearn the noise of the world and tune into your soul's signal. And now, your energy is lighter, your aura is brighter, and your physical form reflects that spiritual choice. People notice. They can't always explain it, but they feel it. They stare a little longer. They whisper when you walk by. Some assume it's genetics. Some think it's some secret routine. But the truth is this: while others moisturize their skin, you moisturized your spirit. While they feared time, you befriended it. While they ran from silence, you meditated in it, and there, you found youth waiting for you in the stillness. Science says the human body regenerates itself every few years, but what it doesn't say is that consciousness affects that regeneration. When your cells are being informed by love, by alignment, by clarity, they rebuild not just stronger, but purer. You aren't aging backwards, you're aging higher. Your glow isn't artificial, it's sacred. You don't just look different, you feel different. And that feeling is not just vitality, it's truth. You walk in truth now. You wear your healing. You embody your freedom. And while the world tries to make sense of your timelessness, the real ones know it's spiritual. It always has been. Do you feel the truth of this message? If your glow comes from within, not the mirror, then declare it boldly in the comments. My youth is spiritual, and my alignment is divine. 2. You mastered emotional alchemy. You don't wear your trauma because you alchemized it. While others hardened under the weight of their pain, you softened into presence. You didn't just survive the fire, you became it. Emotional wounds that once threatened to define you have now been transformed into wisdom. You didn't bury the pain. You sat with it. You listened. You allowed it to speak its truth. And in doing so, you disarmed it. Through spiritual surrender, you learned that healing doesn't come from resistance, it comes from release. This path required emotional honesty most men are never taught to access. You weren't afraid to admit your fears, to confront your guilt, or to grieve what was lost. You made room inside yourself for all of it. That's what restructured your nervous system. That's why people don't see bitterness on your face. They see peace. Not performative peace. Not fake it till you make it peace. But deep, cellular, spiritual stillness that radiates without effort. The kind of stillness only earned through inner storms. You rewrote your emotional code through practices that don't get enough credit: stillness, breathwork, prayer, reflection, the courage to sit alone and not run from yourself. You gave up the illusion of control in favor of real transformation. You didn't avoid your demons. You invited them to the table, listened to their lessons, and sent them home. That is why you look untouched by the world, even though you've been through hell. That is why time doesn't seem to touch you. The world sees it and whispers, "He's different." They don't understand it's not skincare, not diet, not some external regimen. It's a spiritual discipline. This isn't vanity, it's vibrational truth. The body remembers everything, but it also responds to healing. Every cell in your being has been shaped by your decision to evolve rather than decay. While others numb, you feel. While others flee, you face. That is why your presence feels like medicine. You are not aging, you are revealing. As others grow weary, you grow clearer. As others become cynical, you become light. Not because your life was easier, but because your soul refused to let pain win. You don't have to speak it. Your aura speaks for you. The glow is not from youth, it's from clarity. The vitality is not from supplements, it's from soul alignment. You've become a living example that spiritual healing is not abstract, it's visible, it's energetic, it's embodied. People stare because they feel it before they understand it. They sense the power of a man who has mastered himself. This is emotional alchemy, and it is the most radical kind of power, not because it dominates others, but because it liberates you. If this message resonated with your healing journey, leave a like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss powerful insights like this. Type in the comments, "I choose peace, healing, and emotional freedom." 3. You unplugged from the matrix and reclaimed your energy. By refusing to perform for society's expectations, you didn't just reclaim your time, you reclaimed your spirit. Every act of resistance, every sacred no, became a spiritual boundary that sealed your energy field. You stopped leaking your essence into roles that weren't yours to play. And when you stopped performing for applause and started honoring your truth, something powerful happened. Your energy began returning home. Your body responded, not with exhaustion, but with renewal. Your soul, no longer stretched thin, began to glow from within. This wasn't just rest, it was resurrection. Solitude became your sanctuary. In a world addicted to attention, you chose stillness. In a culture obsessed with hustle, you slowed down. That decision, though silent, was radical. It signaled to the universe that you were no longer available for distortion. You were available only for alignment. And so the repair began. Your nervous system relaxed. Your breath deepened. Your cells remembered peace. What people call anti-aging is simply what happens when the body is no longer at war with itself. Spiritual clarity became your skincare routine. Wholeness became your vitality. Truth became your glow. You didn't need products. You needed presence. Not treatments, but transcendence. Your healing wasn't aesthetic. It was energetic. As you unplugged from the matrix of roles, demands, and illusions, your frequency shifted. And those who see you now, they feel the shift before they even understand it. They look at your face and search for the wrinkles that should be there. They look at your eyes and can't find the tiredness they expected. They ask you for your secret, as if it's something external. But the truth is spiritual. You are the secret. You are the result of radical authenticity and divine recalibration. The years didn't disappear. They transmuted. The pain didn't vanish. It transformed into wisdom. The heartbreak didn't erase it, became the space where grace lives now. Your aging reversed not because you denied time, but because you stopped letting time define you. You no longer see life as a race or a ladder. You see it as a sacred rhythm, as divine unfolding. And that perspective shift altered your biology. The body responds to belief. And when your belief aligns with freedom, your biology aligns with life. What they call youth on your face is really peace. What they call vitality in your walk is really spiritual sovereignty. While others aged from pressure, you evolved through presence. You turned isolation into revelation. You turned silence into sacred conversation. You turned rejection into redirection toward your true self. And now, you are living proof. Spiritual alignment is the greatest anti-aging force on earth. Are you done performing for the world and ready to reclaim your true energy? If so, comment below. I choose authenticity to affirm your path of unplugging from the matrix. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss content that empowers your spiritual awakening. 4. You aged upward, not downward. They told you that age would steal your light, that time would be your enemy, but instead, it became your evolution. While others tried to outrun the years, you allowed them to shape you into someone unshakable. You didn't age downward. You aged upward into clarity, presence, and spiritual sovereignty. You didn't fade. You became luminous. Each wrinkle, each year, each scar became a sacred badge earned in the hidden battles of the soul. And now, your face carries the kind of peace that can't be purchased, only cultivated through inner alchemy. That glow people see, it's not youth, it's alignment. It's the quiet strength of someone who chose self-respect over people-pleasing, silence over drama, solitude over superficiality. Your energy is magnetic because it's authentic. You stopped trying to be liked and started embodying your truth, and the world took notice. While your peers numbed themselves through distractions and superficial fixes, you leaned into the stillness, and that stillness rewarded you with power. Not loud, boastful power, but spiritual resonance, the kind that shifts a room before you even speak. You don't look your age because your soul outran the timeline. You don't carry the weight of unresolved pain. You released it. And now, your body reflects that lightness. You've turned your nervous system into a sanctuary. You've learned that your worth isn't tied to appearance, but to frequency. You vibrate differently, not because you're trying to, but because you've healed. And healing is the real fountain of youth. It's why you glow when others dim, why your presence feels eternal. The human body may be made of trillions of cells, but yours have been transmuted by loss, revelation, and divine restoration. That kind of transformation leaves a spiritual fingerprint, something the eye may not see, but the soul always recognizes. That's why people stare. That's why they whisper. You remind them of something they forgot, that beauty isn't skin deep, it's spirit deep. You've made peace with time. You've let go of the fear of aging and embraced the wisdom it brings. In doing so, you've made the impossible visible, aging with grace, power, and purpose. You've turned the ticking clock into a drumbeat of destiny. As your classmates worry about fine lines and fading relevance, you move through life with the elegance of someone who understands that time isn't a curse, it's a ceremony. You've honored it, you've danced with it, and in return, it crowned you with a glow that no product can replicate. You are the living proof that spiritual evolution rewrites physical reality. That truth radiates from you like an unspoken sermon, unsettling some and inspiring others. You've become a mirror, reflecting not age, but ascension. And as long as you walk in truth, you will never truly age. You will only rise, again and again, into the version of you that time was always trying to reveal. If you believe that age is your spiritual elevation, not your limitation, comment below. I ascend with time. Let the world know you're embracing growth, power, and wisdom with every year. 5. You regenerated from within. You didn't just maintain yourself through the years, you were spiritually rebuilt from the inside out. While others were chasing external success or drowning in distractions, you were buried deep in solitude, not to escape, but to evolve. That isolation wasn't a breakdown, it was a divine cocoon. In the silence, your body, your emotions, and your spirit began a process of sacred regeneration. You didn't decay, you resurrected. What people see now is not anti-aging. It's a spiritual rebirth. Your face doesn't carry the weight of time, it carries the wisdom of transformation. Your body doesn't move like it's fighting gravity, it flows like it's aligned with divine rhythm. People can't put their finger on it, but they feel it. There's a glow in your skin, a steadiness in your voice, a presence in the room when you walk in. That's not a charm. That's spiritual authority. You've earned it, not by running from your shadows, but by sitting with them, listening to them, and healing what others avoid. While the world was shouting, you were listening. While they were performing, you were purifying. You weren't just surviving storms, you were learning the language of lightning. That's why now, even in your 50s or 60s, you radiate something men half your age are still searching for. It's not youth, it's alignment. It's not muscle, it's mastery. Your body has become a living testament to what happens when a man decides to heal at the cellular level, when he surrenders to the work of inner alchemy. People see your confidence and assume it was always there. They don't see the nights you collapsed in silence, the mornings you rose with tears still in your beard, the countless battles fought in invisible realms. But you know. And every line on your face tells a story not of aging, but of becoming. Your timeline never followed the rules of the world. You were moving in spiritual time. When others settled into routines of decline, you were just beginning to ascend into purpose. That's why you confuse people. That's why they stare. not because of how you look, but because of what you carry. You don't wear cologne. You carry frequency. You don't seek attention. You shift energy. Your presence feels like a mirror, exposing people to the parts of themselves they've buried. And while they try to figure out your skincare routine or your fitness secret, the truth remains this glow came from the fire. You burned away everything that wasn't you and emerged as a man on divine assignment. You are not aging. You are ascending. You are not tired. You are timeless. And while the world keeps asking how, your life keeps whispering God. If you're ready to embrace your inner rebirth and walk in your divine renewal, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's declare this sacred transformation together. 6. You refuse to let bitterness age you. You didn't let bitterness take root in your soul. You didn't allow pain to settle into your body like rust on metal. Instead, you turned to forgiveness, not as a weak surrender, but as a powerful spiritual choice. While others carried the weight of resentment in their shoulders and sadness in their skin, you chose a different path, a higher path. One where your glow didn't come from beauty products or compliments, but from emotional liberation. That's why you radiate peace. That's why people stare and whisper, "How do they look so young?" The answer isn't in your skincare, it's in your spirit. You see, bitterness is an invisible toxin. It starts quietly, disguising itself as memory, justice, or pride. But left unchecked, it hardens the face, darkens the aura, and shortens the breath. You knew this, and so you fought your battles internally. You prayed instead of plotting. You cried instead of clinging. You are blessed instead of blaming. Not because it was easy, but because your soul was built for higher things. Each time you forgave someone who didn't deserve it, you didn't lose anything. You gained something priceless, your light. And light, once protected, keeps you young in ways no one can explain. While the world clings to anti-aging serums and expensive rituals, you've been practicing something deeper, spiritual discipline. You hydrate your soul with stillness, your mind with truth, and your body with kindness. You release what doesn't serve you, not just to stay sane, but to stay free. Freedom from grudges, freedom from expectations, freedom from cycles that keep repeating in the lives of those who never let go. Your spiritual hygiene is your fountain of youth, and it's not just seen, it's felt. People may not understand why your energy is so clean, why your presence feels like a safe place, or why your eyes carry the softness of someone who's seen storms and yet still believes in rainbows. But you understand, because you chose to keep your heart open even after it had every reason to close. You chose joy over revenge, grace over ego, surrender over struggle. And that kind of choice rewrites not just your story, but your cells. Your biology responds to your beliefs. Your nervous system listens to your forgiveness. Your face reflects your freedom. This is the glow of someone who has walked through fire and did not carry the ashes. This is the youth of someone who refused to be aged by hatred, who understood that time only wears down what is not healed. So you healed. Again and again, you allowed your spiritual wisdom to lead. And because of that, you are not just aging differently, you are living differently. Your joy is your skincare. Your peace is your posture. Your faith is your filter. And your forgiveness, that's your secret. One you don't need to explain, because it speaks for itself every time you walk into a room. If this message touched your soul, declare it in the comments I choose forgiveness over bitterness. My spirit stays young because I let go and let God. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your healing journey is just beginning. 7. You cut energetic parasites and took your power back. People used to feed on your light without remorse, taking from you emotionally, spiritually, and energetically, leaving you depleted while they walked away feeling empowered. But something shifted. You reached your breaking point, not with anger, but with clarity. You saw the patterns for what they were. Soul contracts long expired, draining connections disguised as loyalty, spiritual vampires camouflaged as friends and lovers. You cut the cord, not out of cruelty, but out of sacred necessity. And the moment you did, the fog lifted, your vitality returned, and your soul began to breathe again. You stopped feeding demons that were never yours to carry. You stopped being the emotional support system for people who only called you when they were in crisis. You started protecting your peace like it was sacred gold, because it is. You no longer bend just to keep the peace. You no longer bleed just to prove your love. And you no longer dim your frequency just to make others feel comfortable. That shift, subtle yet seismic, became the turning point in your spiritual evolution. People noticed. They couldn't quite explain it, but they could feel it. Your energy changed. Your glow returned. And suddenly, the same ones who overlooked you now look at you like you're a mystery wrapped in divine fire. It wasn't magic. It was healing. It was hydration. It was a holy alignment. When you stopped pouring your light into people who refused to see your worth, you became whole again. Your aura became unshakable. Your presence became commanding. You stopped being a source of free energy for those who never had the intention to grow with you. Now, when they look at you, they see someone they no longer recognize, not because you've changed superficially, but because you've evolved spiritually. And your evolution is a mirror to their stagnation. It wasn't that you were too much, it's that they were too little for the spiritual calling on your life. You were not designed to shrink for anyone. You were designed to expand, to elevate, to radiate power that is rooted not in ego, but in divine truth. The moment you reclaimed your energy, your life recalibrated. Relationships that were rooted in dependency dissolved. Conversations that once drained you now feel foreign. You've outgrown the spaces that once felt like home because your soul is finally living in truth, not survival. You no longer apologize for the boundaries you set. You no longer explain your silence. You've become fluent in the language of peace, and not everyone is fluent in that dialect. You've stepped into your own gravity. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer seek approval, you embody alignment. And that's why your looks are ageless, your presence unshakable, your spirit untouchable. You didn't just glow up, you awakened. You didn't just evolve, you remembered who you were before the world told you to forget. This is what spiritual sovereignty looks like. Not loud, not aggressive, just powerful in a way that speaks without words. You are no longer accessible to chaos. You are no longer a source of light for those who live in darkness by choice. And now, the very energy that used to be drained has become your greatest source of attraction. Comment below. I reclaim my energy and stand in my power if you're ready to cut the cords that no longer serve you and fully step into your spiritual strength. 8. You reclaimed your true identity. Letting go of false roles and societal masks did more than free your mind. It recalibrated your entire being. As you peeled off layers of identity that were never yours to begin with, your energy began to harmonize with your truth. No longer were you performing the role of who others expected you to be. Instead, your presence began to speak louder than words. The glow that people see isn't cosmetic, it's spiritual. It is the quiet radiance of a man who has returned to himself. When embodiment replaces performance, something sacred happens. The body becomes a vessel of truth. Most people age according to stress, suppression, and the pressure to conform. You, however, aged through liberation. While others chased validation, you pursued alignment. You walked away from the scripts handed to you by culture provider, protector, achiever, and rewrote your life based on what your soul whispered in the silence. That kind of courage doesn't just change your thoughts, it transforms your biology. The weight lifted from your shoulders allowed your posture to rise. The tension released from your jaw softened your voice. The guilt and shame you shed gave your eyes a different light. That's why people stare. That's why they can't quite place your age. You don't look like what you've been through because healing has rewritten your appearance. This isn't vanity. This is vibrational authority. The spiritual work you've done, facing shadows, breaking cycles, reclaiming worth, has caused a shift in your frequency. You became calmer, wiser, more magnetic, not because you forced it, but because you stopped resisting who you truly are. The body follows the soul, and when the soul heals, the body often regenerates. They may not understand it, but they feel it. The same people who once underestimated you now find themselves drawn to you, curious, even a little uncomfortable, because you no longer dim your light to fit in. You embody peace without pretending to be perfect. You radiate strength without needing to dominate. You carry a quiet confidence that doesn't beg for applause, and yet you receive it anyway. That's spiritual sovereignty. The world measures age in years, but you carry decades of wisdom in each moment of presence. You are a paradox seasoned yet youthful, grounded yet expansive, gentle yet powerful. While others seek anti-aging secrets, you are living proof that spiritual clarity is the real elixir. The truth is, you didn't just reclaim your identity. You remembered your essence. You remembered the version of yourself that existed before the conditioning, before the betrayals, before the need to prove. That remembrance realigned every cell in your body. You no longer move through life as a product of your past. You move as a man, reborn in spiritual purpose. And that's why you look the way you do. That's why your presence feels different. Because you are no longer here to survive. You're here to embody. If you've made it this far, you're someone who's ready to live in full alignment. Drop a comment saying, "I reclaim my true identity," to affirm your journey back to authenticity. Stay tuned. Your glow is only getting brighter. 9. You transcended time. Because you live spiritually, not chronologically. You didn't just grow older, you ascended. While others counted years, you gathered wisdom. Your journey wasn't about time passing, but about energy deepening. You lived in alignment, not with a calendar, but with your calling. As the world obsessed over the fear of aging, you turned inward, choosing to evolve from the inside out. You understood what most ignore. The soul doesn't age. The body may shift, but your spirit, refined through awareness, remains untouched by time. That's why people stare. That's why they can't make sense of your presence. Because you're not simply aging, you're transcending. You moved through life consciously. Each hardship became a gateway to higher understanding. You weren't just surviving trials, you were being spiritually sculpted by them. The heartbreaks, the solitude, the betrayals, they didn't wear you down. They purified your essence. You released what weighed on your spirit, and in doing so, you made room for radiance. While others chased temporary youth through creams and routines, you chose the path of healing, forgiveness, and divine surrender. And that decision became your anti-aging elixir. Not bottled, but embodied. Not purchased, but earned. People wonder how you glow without trying. They ask what your secret is. The truth is spiritual. You've learned to rest in peace while alive. You've honored silence, chosen stillness, and returned to the present moment again and again. That's why your nervous system feels different. That's why your energy doesn't carry the weight of the world. You learn that to be truly ageless is to live light in vibration, light in thought, light in soul. And that kind of light can't be dimmed by time. It only grows stronger. Your beauty is a reflection of your liberation. Every line on your face is a scripture. Every silver thread in your hair is a prayer answered. You didn't resist the tide of aging. You walked with it, and it revealed your divinity. As Isaiah wrote, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength." You are the evidence of that renewal. You gave up the illusion of control, and in return, received the strength that comes from surrender. Not weakness, but sacred resilience. The kind that makes people stop and wonder how you've endured so much and still shine. While others chased applause, you chased alignment. You chose authenticity over image, devotion over distraction, and in doing so, you unlocked the power of timelessness. Your youth isn't something you clung to, it's something you've redefined. Because spiritual living bends the rules of biology. It rewrites what's possible. You aren't defying age. You're expressing eternity. The very cells of your being carry a frequency shaped by prayer, peace, and presence. And when someone encounters you, they feel it even if they don't have the words for it. Let them wonder. Let them question the glow, the calm, the strength. Because you've done what few dare to do, you've lived not in resistance to time, but in reverence of it. And in that reverence, you didn't just survive the years, you sanctified them. That's not aging. That's awakening. That's spiritual mastery. To affirm your transcendence beyond time, declare it with power. Comment below, "I am timeless through spirit," to honor your evolution and inspire others to rise above the limits of the clock. Thank you for joining us on Spiritual Wisdom today. Remember, the way you carry your age, your energy, and your presence isn't just genetics, it's spiritual. You are not behind in life. You're simply on divine timing. People may not understand how you look younger, glow brighter, and walk lighter despite all you've endured. But that's what happens when healing, purpose, and alignment become your lifestyle. If this message spoke to your soul, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. And be sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next revelation meant just for you. Your journey is sacred, and it's only just beginning. Chosen one, a high-level contact is about to relocate you. They spotted your gifts. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. This ancient saying reminds us that life moves with divine timing, not coincidence. On spiritual wisdom, today's message is no exception. If you've been feeling the pressure, sensing that something big is on the horizon, you're right. A shift is coming. Someone powerful has recognized your light, and the universe is preparing to place you exactly where your gifts will not just survive, but thrive. As you listen, consider this. Are you ready to step into the place you've been spiritually prepared for? Drop a comment below, "I'm ready to rise," if this resonates with you, and share your thoughts so we can grow together in wisdom and alignment. Chapter 1. Feeling the shift before it happens. Your spirit sensed the change long before anything in your external world shifted. That subtle feeling of unease, the quiet discomfort in once familiar places, wasn't just emotional fatigue, it was divine foresight. When you began feeling disconnected from routines, environments, or people that used to feel like home, it was a sign, not of something going wrong, but of your soul preparing you for something greater. Spiritual awakening often begins with that inner restlessness, that knowing without explanation, that pull towards something unseen but deeply felt. As this energy built within you, so did the signs around you. Seemingly random patterns started showing up: specific numbers, recurring dreams, unexpected invitations. Places you had never considered before began to call to you, and new creative communities quietly echoed your name. These weren't coincidences. They were spiritual confirmations. Even though fear tried to anchor you to what was safe, and doubt whispered reasons to stay where you were, your inner knowing kept speaking louder. It said, "Expansion is coming." That expansion is now taking shape in the form of a high-level figure, someone guided to you by divine design. They didn't just stumble into your life. They were led by the same forces that have been guiding your awakening. This person carries influence, clarity, and vision. And more importantly, they see your light clearly. They recognize in you what you've known all along, but may have struggled to fully own: that your gifts are rare and your calling is real. There's something about their presence that feels aligned, authentic, as if your soul had been waiting for this moment, this connection. This isn't the time to shrink or retreat. Everything in your spirit knows the truth. This is the moment to step forward. The discomfort you felt wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to wake you. You were being prepared to be seen, to be moved, to be placed in an environment that will nourish the depth of who you truly are. Spiritual awakening doesn't just bring you peace, it brings you into alignment. And when you're aligned, the right people, the right opportunities, and the right places begin to show up with clarity. Let yourself rise into it. Let the shift happen. The invitation to relocate physically, emotionally, or spiritually is not random. It's divine. Trust what your spirit knew before your eyes could see. You are not being uprooted. You are being replanted in richer soil. The figure who has entered your life is not just a contact. They are a catalyst. This is your season of movement, not because you chased it, but because you were chosen for it. Have you ever felt that inner nudge before life shifted? If you've experienced these divine signals, restlessness, synchronicities, or meeting the right person at the right time, share your story in the comments below. Let's inspire each other on this path of spiritual awakening. And if you're feeling the pull, but haven't stepped forward yet, comment, "I'm ready for the shift," so we can move into this new season together. Chapter 2. Being hidden was preparation. For years, you carried the quiet ache of feeling overlooked, your contributions unseen, your gifts unrecognized. But this was not neglect. This was a divine strategy of intentional shielding placed around you by your spiritual guardians. They knew that premature exposure could damage the very essence of what makes you powerful. They protected you from the eyes that might envy, from environments that could drain your light before it was time to shine. Every moment in the shadows was purposeful. You were not being dismissed, you were being refined. Hiddenness taught you resilience. When applause was absent and recognition never came, you still showed up. You worked in silence, building your craft, nurturing your soul, deepening your roots. Like a seed beneath the earth, you grew where no one could see. You were learning consistency, patience, and the strength to stand tall when the winds of life would inevitably blow. This foundation is unshakable now because it was forged in solitude. Your spiritual guardians have been orchestrating something far beyond your sight. Behind the veil, they aligned the right moments, the right connections, and now a powerful figure has noticed what others missed. This individual, guided by divine forces, has seen the brilliance that even you, at times, doubted. And they are being led to relocate you, to move you into an environment where your gifts will no longer be hidden, but will thrive, expand, and transform not only your life, but the lives of those around you. The timing is precise. Every delay, every unanswered prayer, every moment of frustration was part of the divine choreography. Exposure before preparation would have left you vulnerable to burnout or jealousy. But now, your spirit is ready. You've been fortified by spiritual wisdom and life's lessons, and the door that is opening cannot be closed. This is not merely relocation in the physical sense, it is spiritual elevation, a movement into spaces that match your vibration, where your gifts will be celebrated, not diminished, where you can stand fully in your power, knowing you've been prepared for such a time as this. Your guardians have been holding the space, ensuring that when you step forward, it will be onto solid ground. Trust the process. This shift is the reward of the unseen work you've done, the inner healing, the quiet prayers, the countless times you chose to believe even when there was no visible evidence. Now, your gifts will be seen, your presence will be felt, and the spiritual journey that once felt like a lonely climb is about to reveal the view from the summit. If you know your hidden season was preparation for something greater, comment below. I am ready to shine. Let's affirm together that the time for your light to be seen has arrived. Chapter 3. Outgrowing rivalries and gatekeepers. You found yourself trapped in spaces where rivalries thrived, places where others, sensing your light, attempted to dim it out of fear. These environments weren't built to nurture your spirit. They were designed to keep you small, stuck in cycles of competition that only fed the insecurities of those around you. Yet, with every silent battle you endured, you grew stronger, not because of the validation they withheld, but because of the spiritual resilience you cultivated within. Over time, you stopped seeking approval from these false gatekeepers, those who positioned themselves as the ones who could open or close doors to your destiny. Their power was always an illusion. They operated from fear, not faith. They tried to contain what they could never control, your divine purpose. You turned away from their voices and tuned into something deeper, something eternal, your own spiritual guidance. This was the moment everything began to shift. Your alignment with this higher calling was like tuning a frequency, and as your signal grew clearer, so too did the opportunities that aligned with your soul's truth. The noise of manipulation, control, and rivalry began to fade, replaced by the resonance of someone who recognized your light, not as a threat, but as a beacon. This individual, powerful in their own right and spiritually aligned, stepped forward not to restrain you, but to elevate your gifts. They came without the weight of control, without the chains of expectation, offering a space where your talents could breathe and expand. This transformation was not accidental. It was spiritual law in motion. What no longer served your growth fell away as you rose into higher alignment. You outgrew the hands that tried to hold you back. You released the need for approval from those who never had the authority to define your worth. And in doing so, you made space for the right connections, those who see you, truly see you, and offer their support without strings. The power in this journey lies in the alignment. Your spiritual evolution shifted your environment from rivalry to recognition, from blockage to blessing. The old gatekeepers are no longer part of your path because you no longer vibrate at their level. Your soul called forth someone aligned, someone capable of helping you step fully into your divine mission, not through control, but through genuine support and freedom. Are you ready to rise above rivalries and trust your divine path? If so, comment below. I trust my alignment to affirm your commitment to growth and stepping into your true power. Chapter 4: Sharpening Gifts in Private. In solitude and obscurity, you refined your gifts, away from the noise, away from the need for validation. While the world raced for recognition, you chose the sacred path of patience, where the applause of others could not distract you from the deeper work within. This was not isolation. It was intentional preparation. The quiet mastery you built in those unseen moments has formed the foundation of your spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is not simply about becoming aware. It's about transforming in the shadows so that when the light comes, you are ready to carry it with grace. The stillness you embraced allowed your talents to evolve into something more powerful than skill alone. They became an extension of your soul's purpose. And though no one watched, you showed up for yourself, for your calling, again and again. Now, something greater is stirring. The celestial allies, your spiritual guardians, ancestors, and unseen supporters have watched your dedication, your resilience. They have been orchestrating a shift, moving the unseen into alignment so that your gifts will no longer remain hidden. They are positioning you in spaces where your talents will be valued, magnified, and expanded beyond what you ever thought possible. This is the moment where preparation meets divine timing. You did not seek the spotlight, yet the spotlight is seeking you. Those aligned with your vibration mentors, communities, collaborators are beginning to notice the brilliance that was once concealed. And it is not by accident. The years of unseen effort, of sharpening your gifts in private, have made this inevitable. You are being relocated into an environment where your essence will thrive, where your light will be honored, not dimmed. But remember, this isn't just about external validation. This is spiritual recognition. Those who are meant to walk with you on this journey will not be drawn to your outward success. They will be drawn to the depth of your being, the quiet strength that comes from having done the inner work. Spiritual awakening continues in every new chapter. The visibility coming your way is not the end. It is the beginning of a new level of responsibility, a new arena for your gifts to serve. Stay rooted in what sustained you during your quiet seasons. Do not forget the practices that kept your spirit aligned when no one was watching. This is what will carry you forward as your light expands. So trust this process. Every moment spent in solitude, every hour dedicated to mastering your craft has brought you here. Your spiritual awakening has prepared you for this. The world is ready to receive your gifts, not because they need to be impressed, but because they need to be transformed by the authenticity and purpose you carry. If this message speaks to your spirit and reminds you of the quiet work you've done in the shadows, leave a like, subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss powerful insights like this. Declare your readiness for this next chapter by commenting below. I am ready to shine. Chapter 5. Breaking the Illusion of Wrong Timing. One of the greatest illusions on the spiritual path is believing that you must wait for the perfect time. This mindset holds you back, convincing you that conditions need to be ideal, that every piece must fall neatly into place before you can move forward. But divine timing operates on a very different principle. It demands obedience, not convenience. It calls you to step forward when your spirit is stirred, even if the world around you seems unprepared. This is the essence of spiritual alignment, not waiting for life to feel ready, but trusting the invisible hand guiding you through every uncertain moment. You've felt this before, that quiet nudge in your heart, telling you it's time to act. Yet, your mind, conditioned by the world's expectations, whispered, "Not yet." But in the spiritual realm, that nudge is the only sign you need. Growth, expansion, and the unfolding of your destiny don't happen when everything is perfect. They happen when you trust enough to move, even when things seem incomplete. This trust is what separates the chosen ones from those still trapped in hesitation. You've learned to recognize these spiritual prompts and to move with them, breaking free from the illusion that timing must be perfect before your journey can advance. Consider how many times the universe has been ready to meet you, but you waited, thinking the conditions weren't right. Yet the truth is, the spiritual forces aligned the moment you chose to act. It wasn't the outer world that needed to be ready. It was your willingness to trust the process. As Lao Tzu reminds us, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. That step doesn't require certainty. It requires faith. When you obey the call, even when life feels inconvenient or unclear, you activate a divine sequence. This act of faith opens doors that logic alone could never unlock. The universe responds not to your waiting, but to your willingness. Every time you step forward in trust, you affirm that you are ready for the next level. You declare that you are aligned with divine timing, not human schedules. Breaking this illusion of wrong timing is a pivotal moment on your spiritual journey. It transforms you from someone who reacts to circumstances into someone who shapes them. It allows you to move with the rhythms of the spiritual realm, trusting that every step you take is guided, even if the ground beneath your feet hasn't fully formed. You've reached a place where you understand this now. You no longer wait for external validation to confirm your readiness. You no longer need the world's approval to move forward. You trust the spiritual signs, the nudges, the synchronicities that speak directly to your soul. And in doing so, you break free from the illusion that you must wait for the perfect moment. The truth is, chosen one, the perfect moment has always been the moment you choose to trust. If this message has resonated with you today, declare your trust in divine timing. Comment below, "I step forward in faith, knowing God's timing is perfect for me." And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a word meant to guide your journey. Chapter 6. Choosing the divine over the crowd. You have faced countless tests designed to challenge your deepest need for external validation. Whether it was the expectations of family urging you to follow a safer path, the subtle pressures from co-workers pushing you toward conformity, or society itself, broadcasting its loud, relentless opinions, every force around you seemed determined to shape you into something smaller, something predictable. But you knew deep down that your spirit could not be caged by the world's limited understanding. You chose something higher. You made the courageous decision to align with the divine over seeking human approval. This was not an easy choice. At times, it left you feeling isolated, misunderstood, even judged by those closest to you. There were moments when walking this spiritual path meant walking alone. But in those silent spaces, you discovered something unshakable within yourself: integrity. A spiritual integrity that refused to bend under the weight of opinions or social pressure. Every time you resisted the urge to seek validation from others, you proved not to them, but to yourself and your spiritual guardians, that your loyalty lies with your purpose, not with public applause. This integrity did not go unnoticed. Your spiritual watchers, those celestial allies assigned to guide your journey, have been observing. They've seen your silent battles and your quiet victories. They witnessed you choosing authenticity when it would have been easier to blend in. These moments, though invisible to the world, have been recorded in the divine realm. Each choice has amplified your spiritual light, proving that you are not here for approval, you are here for alignment. And this alignment, this unwavering loyalty to your divine purpose, becomes a beacon. It draws toward you the right people, the right opportunities, those that recognize and honor your gifts. This process of spiritual refinement, of choosing the divine over the crowd, has strengthened you. It has stripped away the need for surface-level validation and rooted you in something eternal. Though the crowd may never understand the depth of your journey, the divine does. The struggles you've faced, the loneliness you've endured, and the decisions you've made in secret have prepared you for the doors that are about to open. Your watchers know your heart, and they are preparing the next stage of your path, one that aligns with the magnitude of your calling. Choosing the divine over the crowd was never about rejecting others. It was about accepting the fullness of who you are. In doing so, you've honored your purpose, magnified your spiritual integrity, and stepped into a destiny that no crowd could ever give you. If this message speaks to your spirit today, affirm it with faith. I choose divine alignment over human approval. My purpose is guided by a higher calling. Type it in the comments and let your watchers, both seen and unseen, know where you stand. And if this resonates with your journey, like this video, subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss these powerful insights. Chapter 7. Relocation unlocks the next level. The divine relocation has arrived. This is not an escape from your current circumstances, nor is it an attempt to avoid challenges. It is a sacred movement, orchestrated by the spiritual forces guiding your life, designed specifically to align you with your higher purpose. This shift places you in an environment prepared to nurture your gifts and expand your essence. It is the next stage in your spiritual awakening, a repositioning that will activate the fullness of who you are destined to become. You felt the signs, the restlessness, the sense of no longer fitting where you are, the inner knowing that your current environment can no longer hold the magnitude of your potential. These feelings are not coincidences. They are spiritual confirmations that the season has shifted. What once sustained you is no longer sufficient for your growth. A divine appointment is calling you forward, asking you to trust even when the road ahead is unclear. You do not need to know every detail. You only need to follow the alignment. Trust is the foundation of this transition. Spiritual awakening is never about having all the answers. It's about moving in faith. Just as a seed does not question where it is planted, you are not called to question why this move is necessary. The Watchers, your spiritual guardians, have observed your journey, witnessed your trials, and confirmed that you are ready for this elevation. You have passed the tests of patience, integrity, and resilience. You remained steadfast when the world demanded you conform. You stayed true to your inner calling when it would have been easier to follow the crowd. Now, you are being relocated, not for survival, but for expansion. This move will activate your next level, positioning you among those who will honor your gifts and contribute to their growth. You will find yourself surrounded by individuals who respect your journey and amplify your light, not diminish it. They will see the work you've done, the strength you've cultivated, and they will meet you at that level. This is the promise of spiritual alignment, that when you leave behind what no longer serves your soul, you make room for connections and environments that are truly aligned with your divine mission. You are stepping into a space where your gifts will be recognized, where your essence will not only be seen, but celebrated. The discomfort of this transition is simply the soul shedding the familiar to make room for the extraordinary. This is the nature of spiritual awakening. It calls you higher, often beyond what feels comfortable or known. Yet, in that unknown space, miracles unfold. The divine relocation is not about distance, it's about alignment. When you feel the call, follow it. When the inner nudge tells you it's time to move, trust it. You are being placed exactly where your gifts will flourish and where your purpose will be fulfilled. If you're ready to step into the space that was always meant for you, declare it today. Comment below, "I trust the divine relocation," to affirm your readiness and inspire others to trust their journey too. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom so you never miss a message aligned with your purpose. As you move forward, remember, divine timing is never wrong. Trust the process, stay open to the signs, and know that your gifts are being recognized in places you can't yet see. A powerful shift is unfolding, and soon you'll find yourself exactly where you are meant to thrive. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who might need this encouragement, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom for more insights to guide your journey. And make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next step on your path. Stay blessed. Chosen one, your time is coming.